Hi, I'm Madison Torio. I'm a new artist, and last month I released a collection of paintings titled Wandering. Wandering is based around the idea of being in a transitional phase of life and feeling a little bit lost, but also very much exploring different options. I feel like it's got a nice mix of daydreaming, but also being in the present and enjoying right now. I have some of my favorite paintings that I've ever painted in this collection, and releasing it has been so much fun. Each week, I've been diving a little bit deeper into two of the paintings, giving a little bit more backstory as to their process and inspiration. Today, I'm going to be talking about two of my favorites, Blurred Roads and Text When You're Home. The reference photo for Blurred Roads actually came from the same road trip camping experience that I talked about in my last video. The photo was taken from the backseat of a car as we were driving into like the San Diego desert and through the mountains. I love getting to look out of a window on a long drive and just like seeing a beautiful landscape. And this was particularly nice because it was sunrise. That was how early we were driving out there. The way the light was just hitting the hills and the mountains and the desert created such a beautiful light and such a nice color. And I love when you're just driving fast and you kind of like look out and it's just all these colors blurring together. And I think the photo was actually a screenshot of a video I was taking. Like I said, I loved the blur of everything. I remember taking the video intending to try to paint kind of like a blurred version of it and wanting like a lot of movement. Up until that point, I had not yet taken oil painting classes, but I had signed up for my first round of them. And I had kind of tried to give a blurred effect with the water-based gouache paints that I was using before. And it was just a little bit harder to blend. It's a lot harder to blend water-based paints without having the colors get all muddied. But something I was really looking forward to about experimenting with oil paints was being able to blend in a different way and just getting to experience a new medium and seeing what capabilities that kind of paint would have and if it was going to be better at executing some of the visions that I was having in my head of things that I wanted to paint. I feel like I learned a lot about the capabilities of oil paints through this painting, kind of understanding more about how to blend them out and mix them together and to create different like visual effects to show movement. And I think also capturing like a part of the day that's so ephemeral and so quick, and if you blink you can miss it, but like sunrise is just like such a lovely time, and as a night person I don't get to experience it very much. Getting all those colors right and getting the blur how I wanted it to be and just like being able to like capture that specific moment was really fun and taught me a lot. I feel like the biggest challenge with this painting was also what made it so fun, and that was figuring out how to execute the blur in the way that I wanted it to be. And it was a lot of just like trial and error and having fun with it and adding color certain places and blurring it out. I feel like this painting let me get really like loose with it, even though it wasn't one that I was painting all in one sitting. It was something that was still very like explorative and playful and fun for me to create. I feel like with having that blur effect, nothing had to be very like perfect, and everything could just be like put it down and blend it out and see how that goes and see if I like it and adjust it if needed, or just kind of like let things happen naturally. And I think that's something that I really love about this painting. I just love all of the colors in this painting. I think that they all look so nicely together. And when I was deciding how to redesign my website for this launch, I love to theme my website off of a specific painting in the collection that I feel like really like encapsulates the feeling and the theme and just the overall vibe of the collection. Or it could even just be like my aesthetically like favorite painting, and I just like want the website to reflect that. But this one really jumped out to me because I specifically love the color combination of like orange and blue. I think that those two colors as complementary colors are like some of the best. Having the kind of like pinky orange hues in the mountains with the very light baby blue sky because it was so early in the day. I just like really loved how those looked together. And once I picked that as the overall color scheme for the website, the rest just like really fell into place and became something that I felt so proud of and just like love looking at. I also feel like I've been trying to match my outfits to this painting because I just love the color scheme so much. I decided to title this painting Blurred Roads because it just made sense in a literal way, but also in relation to the overall theme of this collection. I think a big point in this collection is me rediscovering a love of art after mentally exploring a bunch of different roads, because I had just decided that I no longer wanted to stay in the career that I had been working in. And I feel like with that brings a lot of contemplation of what to do next. If you are deciding you don't want to do something, it's time to figure out what you do want to do. And with that, there's so many different roads that you can go down. There's so many different things that you can try. And a lot of those roads felt like they were just like whizzing past in my head. And I was like speed round imagining what my life would be if I picked any of them. And in that moment of time, it was definitely still blurry and still figuring out what exactly I wanted to do with my life. I think I'm still a little bit in a state of figuring out what I want to do, but it's getting a lot clearer. Definitely at the time, it was very blurred and very confusing and scary. I took the reference photo for Text When You're Home when I was leaving a friend's house, and the thing that made me take the photo was actually the moon peeking out through the beams of the bridge I was on. I just thought that it was like being framed so nicely. It was either a full moon or like very close to a full moon, and I just like thought it looked like the most beautiful thing ever. It was like glowing, it was so bright, being literally framed by like my surroundings. So I took the photo, and actually the white car that was in it was actually a Tesla, but I hate Teslas with a passion. I had snapped like a couple photos while I was taking that one, and I found a reference photo of a different, just like kind of generic like SUV type car, and I painted that in instead because I was like, I will not have a Tesla in my painting. I think the thing I was most excited to paint in that painting was the moon, and then ending up kind of creating a blur effect. I think this painting is fun to talk about in conjunction with Blurred Roads because they both kind of have that blurred effect, but they were painted with two very different mediums. I painted Text When You're Home when I was still doing only gouache and watercolor, and I had not taken any oil painting classes yet. I had to kind of figure out how to create a blur effect with the gouache, and I think I pulled it off pretty well, but like I was saying with Blurred Roads, like it is a lot easier to do with oil painting. I think specifically there's like someone's like tail light or headlight or something in the bottom right corner, and that blur took me a really long time to figure out how to get it to be what I wanted it to be, and it definitely took a few tries of like layering paints over paints and just trying to get it to have the effect that I was wanting it to. I think it's also kind of harder to make things like have that glowing effect with gouache and watercolor than it is with oil paints, and so that was something interesting for me to try to figure out. This painting was actually almost not included in this collection. I had kind of just painted this for fun, and I absolutely did not know what I was going to be doing with any of my paintings at that time that I painted this one, and it was just something for me to practice my skills and to just like paint something for fun. I didn't end up releasing it with my first collection because I just didn't feel like it fit aesthetically or like with the theme that I was going for that time around. And then with this collection, I was actually going to have it be entirely just my oil paintings, and I wanted to just like show my growth in that way and show like what I had learned in class. I was experimenting with this new medium, but as I was developing the theme for the collection, I felt like it was missing something to do with like my hometown, and I wanted to paint something quickly that I could still include in the collection around being from Berkeley or from the Bay Area. I decided I would just paint it with gouache because it's a lot faster. I can paint it a little smaller, which takes me a lot less time, and the medium dries a lot faster, so I could finish it, let it dry, and get it off to the printers. And when I finished that piece, I realized I could add some gouache paintings kind of like from my vault, so to speak. I went through my old portfolio of things I'd been working on last year. I saw my painting of the Bay Bridge, and I saw another one that I thought could really go with this theme and this collection. It was really like a last minute addition, and I'm so glad that I ended up adding it because it really has become one of my favorites in the collection, and it's proven amongst my friends to be very popular and a big favorite with them. It's really funny how sometimes you could disregard something or think it doesn't fit in or think no one will care about it, and then you add it in on a whim and it ends up being the favorite. I came up with the name Text When You're Home actually when I was driving home from the same friend's house. The moon wasn't quite the same that night, but I was remembering about my painting and about the night that I took the photo and just kind of like what it means to me. And I was thinking about how every time I leave my friend's house, they're always like, oh, text when you're home. And like when they leave my house, I always tell them to text me when they're home. And I thought that that could be a really fun title for this painting. A little shout out to my friends for just like being the caring people that they are, and we're just like always concerned for each other's well-being, as friends should be. I feel like sometimes in my mind I want my paintings to be like these timeless pieces that I see in the museums and stuff like that. And so deciding to name it Text When You're Home and spelling it the way that I did, I feel like was really me like pushing myself to like not pigeonhole myself into that like timeless whatever, and to have fun with things and to like acknowledge like here and now. And you know, like I do text like that, and like it's okay to have like some like playfulness in my paintings. Like not everything has to be so serious. I think it's really fun to compare this painting to Blurred Roads and just see the difference in the way that I created the blurs and the different effects I was able to create with different mediums of paint. I love that they both have that similar sense of movement and like speed and blurriness to them. Because of those similarities, I've actually decided to pair these two paintings in a little bundle, a little print pack on my website, and I'll be titling this print pack Gotta Go. I feel like Gotta Go kind of ties in with the playfulness of the title, like Text When You're Home, and it also just implies like movement and being on the go, which I feel like is very much prevalent in these two paintings. I also really like the juxtaposition of Blurred Roads being sunrise and Text When You're Home being at nighttime with like a full moon. I think that that's like a really fun visual difference while also having the visual similarity of the blurriness. You can check out the Gotta Go print pack on my website, mtorioart.com. It's available now.